Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first official episode of Ariel and Ade. Yes, we are finally here. It took a little longer than we expected. You'll recall some dates being mentioned here and there, but we are here. I'm Ariel Helwani. That is Ade Oladipo.
Yes.
In the flesh.
It's me.
This is incredible. You actually came in.
This isn't a hologram. This is the real deal.
We rarely get to work together.
Yeah.
And truth be told, let's just say it.
Go on.
You told the brass.
Yeah.
First episode, debut premiere.
Yeah.
I need to be in the flesh.
That's what I said. I said, look, I'm not doing this over Zoom. I'm not doing this in my studio. If you want me and Ariel to do this thing, I need to fly over. I need to fly over business class.
Oh, yeah.
I need to be in a nice hotel.
Diva Oladipo.
I need a bit of per diems every day. But look, I'm here. No, I'm here. I'm happy to be here. By the way, your setup's incredible.
Thank you.
I'm so impressed by this. I'm so jealous.
This is my favorite
impressed.
part, by the way. Whenever someone comes in here for the first time, they always look around because it always kind of seems like they're surprised,
Yeah.
but also impressed.
They're impressed. I'm impressed. And you know what? You don't normally see this side. So I've got this side right in front of me. You don't normally see this side. It's this, and it's behind me. But I am very impressed, jealous. I'm going to steal some ideas when I get home. There's so much I'm going to take from this.
This is your studio as well because
Whatever.
this is the official first episode of Ariel and Ade. It's an uncrowned production. It's a partnership between us here at Uncrowned / Yahoo Sports and, of course, DAZN. This is exclusive to DAZN right now. And
Ade
we'll be
Oladipo
doing
Productions.
That too. We could throw that on there as well. By the way, it's kind of like when Garcia fights Haney. It's like Haney Promotions. Like, what did Haney do? What did he provide? You know, like what did he put up one light? So this is going to be going down live every Tuesday.
Yeah.
I say Tuesday. What do you say?
Tuesday.
Okay, because the Americans say Tuesday, and they give me a lot of...
I'm
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Yeah, I'm happy that there's a fellow Commonwealth member who can say that. Every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 in the UK, 2 on the West Coast, you and I talking boxing, the week that was and the week...
Do you think that works for both? Is that the ideal time for both, 5 and 10? I mean, it's too late. This is now done, but do you think that's good?
This should have been something...
Well, I'm not privy to the discussions. I don't know what's going on.
It's prime time over there. It's dinner time, supper time here, and it's lunchtime on the West Coast.
What time is that in Nigeria? Just for my Nigerian followers. I've got quite a lot of Nigerian followers.
7? Is it 7 hours ahead?
7.
No, I don't know.
No, I think it's...
What time is it in Nigeria?
I think it'll be 9 p.m. Nigeria, which is perfect.
Oh, Nigeria's 1 hour behind the UK?
Yeah, I believe so, because of time difference. I believe so, because I've got like quite a few fans.
No, for sure. I mean, of course, so, you are the king. So this is exciting. A lot to get into.
Dude.
What a week that we picked to kick things off, right? I mean, coming off arguably one of the most, I don't know, talked about. Yes, that's a good word. Weekends in boxing history, and then a lot in the aftermath. So let us get into it.
Here we go. Come on, let's do this.
No more dilly-dallying. Yeah. I can't wait because your energy is very interesting. Your energy is very interesting. So I can't wait. It sounds like you're here to pick a fight.
I'm not.
I was in Texas.
I know.
On Friday. You were in Riyadh on Saturday. We will talk about, of course, what happened on Saturday at Latino Night. But the big story this weekend, not just in boxing, not just in combat sports, in sports.
Yeah.
Forget sports.
No. Supersede sports.
In the world.
Pop culture. Even more than that. I can't think of the phrase, but literally just the biggest talking point in the world.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. They announced earlier today, Netflix did 108 million viewers worldwide, 65 million households, an insane number. Most watched boxing event of all time.
I don't know that. I need. You know what it is? I need someone to like just verify that and double check it and fact check it.
I'm going with them.
108 million. Do you know the population of England? Do you know?
I have no idea.
57 million people. So they're trying to tell me like nearly double the population of England watched that. Maybe actually it's world. Maybe it just seems like a crazy number.
Well, that was what made it so special, right? It was one app, it was one place, it was one destination to watch all of it, and obviously there were issues, there were streaming issues, buffering.
It was going to be
because there were so many people crashing this app at the same time.
Yeah. Did Antonio Brown have like his own live stream going on, which got to like? Did it get to like 40? Was that?
I thought it got to 6.
Okay, 6. Okay, that's crazy.
No, it's insane.
That's crazy.
It got bigger as the week went on. Like when I got there, I was like, okay, I wonder what this is going to be. But then after the slap, and then once you're there, it felt really big. And so you have said that I have weighed in on this. If someone came up to you on Monday and said, all right, Ade, I heard that, Mike Tyson at 58 fought Jake Paul. Like, what happened? Like, what do you make of all of this? Now that you've seen it, not what do you think of them fighting? It's now come and gone.
It's now done.
What is your response?
It was nonsense. I mean, the fight itself was nonsense. No, I don't know if you're looking at me like I'm saying something crazy. It was crazy. It was stupid. Shouldn't have happened. But
were you expecting that?
Of course.
Okay.
That's why I'm not mad at it.
Exactly.
I can't be mad at it. I can't be mad at Jake Paul and MVP promotions. I knew what it was going to be going into it. I'm not stupid. Forget the fact it was Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. If you told me a 27-year-old's fighting a 58-year-old, I said, oh, come on, this shouldn't happen. It's stupid. So for those of people that tuned in and that were expecting to see, forget Mike Tyson in the 80s, you're never going to see that. But those expecting to see Mike Tyson in the early 2000s, shame on you. Like, why did you think Mike was going to roll back the years?
Right.
Having seen no or very little sparring of Mike. Mike was sick a few months ago, and Jake's quite good. So I don't know what you expected. I tuned in. I mean, if you're a hardcore boxing fan, there's almost two sets of fans that tuned in, right? The hardcore boxing fans, I think, tuned in for Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. And then you stayed, obviously, for Mike because you're intrigued. But I think some fans tuned in to think Mike could beat Jake. Mm-hmm. I'm like, are you crazy?
Many fans.
You know what's crazy about those many fans? A lot of those many fans included real boxers, like genuine boxers out there. And you know who you are. They were saying Mike's got a chance. Like, Mike, give Mike 4 minutes and what are you talking about? So, yeah, I mean, they're saying Jake conned the public and Mike conned the public. No, they didn't. They didn't. You conned yourself if you actually thought that Jake.
So this is actually very aligned with what I've been saying.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It to me, what's so surprising to me, and I think I've kind of figured it out, to be honest. I think I figured it out. When I went home afterwards and I saw the outrage and I saw people saying, we can't let this happen again. We can't get conned again. We can't let boxing do this to us again. What annoyed me about that was this is coming from a lot of people who I know don't care about boxing.
Yeah.
They don't watch boxing. They don't follow boxing. They weren't watching Latino Night. They're not going to watch Sonny Edwards in a couple of weeks. They're not watching any of this. They don't care.
No, but there was some noise from people that do watch boxing. And that's, I don't necessarily care about the ones that sort of dip their toes in and out of the sport once in a while because they're never going to come back anyway. And everyone says, oh, they will. No, they don't. They won't. It's the ones that watch boxing that were outraged. I'm like, why are you outraged by all of this?
Well, that's just idiotic. You know why?
Don't be outraged.
Because A, boxing was seen by 108 million people. Let's just take their numbers at face value. Yeah. And then even if it's not that number, even it's the 50 million that they're saying watch Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, do you realize how many more people that is than their first fight?
But do they stay? I always wondered this. Do they stay? Do those people, like we say that, right?
Meaning, do they stay? Do they stick around?
Do they stick around and watch the sport? Do they do that? I'm not sure if it works like that. I've never seen the data that suggests that people that tune in for something like that watch again. But you're going to get a trickle-down effect. Some will stay, some won't. But no, I'm not mad at the event. I didn't want to see Mike fight at all. And I'm not just saying this sort of playing Monday morning quarterback, or I didn't want to like that American reference. I'm in America, right? I'm in America. But I didn't want to see Mike fight at all. But I don't mind when I see a big event. Like, I was jealous I weren't there. It seemed incredible.
Yeah.
Everyone was there. Like, all the superstars from whatever, music, entertainment, sport were there. So I'm not mad at it. I don't know if I like the fact that Jake was sort of pulling his punches a little bit.
Okay, so that's a good question. Do you feel like he was?
Of course he was.
Well, because, Dana White the next day said, nah, he wasn't pulling. He's just not good enough.
No, nonsense. From the first round, Mike's legs were gone. After 2 minutes of the first round, Mike's legs were gone. You could clearly see. I think Mike even tripped walking to the ring. I think I saw a little stumble. I was like, oh my God, his legs are completely gone. He was wearing a leg brace type thing. Knee brace. I was like, okay, his leg's on. So Jake could have hurt him easily. And Jake clearly didn't really want to. I felt like Jake from rounds 4 onwards, when Mike goes back to the corner and he kind of just really grimaces and it's like you can see it's painful. He's there for the taking. And Jake decided not to take him out. I don't know if I like that or not.
Okay, do you think that was his mindset from the outset?
From the very beginning.
From the moment this was signed?
From the very beginning.
He never had any intention of knocking him out?
No way. I think as much as there was the slap, Jake loves Mike Tyson. Like, he respects him. Anyone of a certain age grew up and Mike was like God to us. And, they've sat down. I think they've been on each other's podcasts, or at least Jake's been. So there's a huge amount of respect there. I don't know if Jake's had that for any other opponent. We just wanted to knock him out. With Mike, it's like, you can't knock out Mike. You can't.
So he carried him.
Carried him for a couple of rounds.
Do you think Mike was in on that?
No.
And when I say in on it, I don't mean at all that this was rigged or a work or anything like that. Just with the mindset of like, hey, this guy's not going to try and knock me out.
No, I don't think Mike knew that. I'm not. I wouldn't want to. I don't think Mike. I think if you were to have told Mike that, he wouldn't have fought Jake Paul. I was watching Mike there that was actually doing his best, thinking this guy's going to hurt me and I need to get in shape and I'm ready for it. I watched a guy that honestly got into the best shape he could at 58 with all the injuries and all the problems of sort of the health issues and was trying his hardest. But he would never have got in the ring knowing that this guy is going to try and carry me and not hurt me. It's just not Mike, is it? Mike wouldn't do that.
I think he believes that because when I asked him afterwards, are you happy? He said, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that I proved that I can go 8 rounds with a younger guy, things like that. I think his demeanor afterwards to me felt like someone who was very relieved. That nothing went wrong, that he didn't get embarrassed.
He tweeted that, didn't he, after?
Yeah.
I think along those lines. So, yeah, I think he went in there. I think after the first round, when he realized, okay, that's it, I'm done. The tank's run empty. There is nothing. It was a case of, okay, I've just got to survive this. I can't get knocked out by this guy that was once doing Disney shows. Like, it just can't happen. It can't. Not in front of my kids, not in front of everyone that has backed me, not in front of all the people that have watched this. I just can't get beat by this guy. So I don't know if he realized Jake was pulling his... Like, he must know. Like, Mike's been in the ring. I mean, Mike's been boxing since he was a kid. He must know when someone's going full throttle and someone's holding back a bit. And he must know that Jake was holding back a little bit. He must know.
And so when people talk about this, they say it's a black eye on boxing, not the event. Let's just talk about the fight. And you adore the sport. You are watching every week and working, of course. Was that fight a black eye on boxing?
Yes.
How could you say that?
Of course it is. Number one, it was sanctioned. Let's not forget this.
8 2-minute rounds.
This fight was sanctioned.
Yeah.
How was that? How has Mike even passed the health check to get that fight sanctioned? Like, how can you sanction a 27-year-old, fit, strong guy that can punch with both hands? How are you sanctioning that against a guy that's not fought really for 20 years? I mean, if we discount the Roy Jones, that's a black eye on boxing. The fact that someone can be shown that paperwork and say, yeah, let's sign that one, that's fine. We're good to go.
Yeah. And I know there were some states who said thanks, but no thanks.
There you go. So that's a black eye on the sport already. And then Jake fighting Mike's a black eye. Like, why is Jake... I love Jake, by the way. Jake, I'm a big fan of yours, Jake. And I've said this 110 times. I like what Jake's doing for the sport. I love what he's doing for Amanda Serrano and all the other fighters on the MVP promotions. Just fight someone your age. I said, I'm not one of those people that say, oh, Jake should be fighting guys that are ranked in the top 50. I'm not stupid. I'm just saying, fight someone healthy and young. That's what I'm asking for.
Age and size is what people want, because Mike Perry was around the same age as well, and that was his last, but not necessarily his size.
How old's Mike Perry? Mike Perry nearly
no.
mid-30s?
33-ish.
Okay, cool.
Something like that. But I think what people want is age, size, boxer, not MMA fighter.
And we saw that once. We've seen it once,
and it wasn't a very good fight.
It wasn't a great fight. We've seen it once, and that was Tommy Fury.
And so the people that are asking for this, because we have a debate on my show with New York Rick, he's the one who always leads this charge saying, I don't care about Jake Paul, the boxer. I don't care about Jake Paul versus Ryan Borland or Andre August. Like, those fights, no one watched those fights.
Yeah.
No, like, they were barely a blip on the radar.
I like the kind of, if you like, spectacle type thing. But Mike was too far. Mike was too far. And look, I get it. Mike's numbers, and you said the numbers there, 108 million. I get what Mike does. It pushes the needle. And you messaged me about Mike saying, in terms of sort of a person to speak to and watch, he is the most intriguing person probably alive right now. And I get all those things. So I get why he went for a Mike type. But there must be younger versions of that. There are. The younger versions of that. Floyd's probably too small.
Yeah.
But Floyd's one. Conor maybe. Conor now, who looks around 200 pounds, that's one. Conor's young. Floyd's youngish. That's
when you're saying Conor, you mean Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor, yeah. Apologies, yeah. Certainly not Conor Benn.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
He'll take the fight. That's more like it. And I don't think people would be mad at that. I think people were just mad that you fought a 58-year-old. Dude, 58... Dude,
no, 100%.
58.
I don't want to see that again.
Okay.
And I've said it a million times when Nikisa Badarian, co-founder of MVP, told me about this on the phone. I was like, what? You guys are... I thought you were going down like the traditional sort of boring boxing route. You're going to fight, guys who you fight when you have 9, 10 fights on your resume. And then you say you want a belt. Well, you have to beat those guys to get to a belt. But here's the thing. No one that's complaining about this, A, knows who Jai Opetaia is, or B, is even watching Jake Paul versus Jai Opetaia, because to them, Jai Opetaia is the same as Ryan Borland, right?
Yeah, I get you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the question then is, if you're MVP, if you're Jake, if you're Nikisa, what do you do? Like, if you're Nikisa right now and you're sitting down with Jake, you're in Puerto Rico, okay, what's the next move? How do we not necessarily top 108 million, but how do we then use this to then cross over another bridge?
Well, he's kind of played around with both, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because again, he's fought the quote-unquote professional boxers, and they'll look at the numbers and they're like, okay, these just do not tick the box. And then he's fought the MMA guys or former NBA players, and they've done well. So they need to stay down that route. but he also says he wants to become a world champion. So I don't know how you shuffle this. I don't know what you do. How do you
feel
juggle
like he's
that?
taken his foot off that particular gas and has now
Really?
just... I don't feel like it's a thing he talks about as much. Here's what I believe right now, and I'd love to get your take on this. And please let me preface this by saying it's not something I'm campaigning for or necessarily think should be next. But I really do believe that the Canelo fight is a real thing. A real thing. I'm not talking about, like, I wouldn't...
A real thing when?
Very soon. I think it is.
Like, well, you know, you need to. You need more. I need
I
more
would
context.
not be shocked in 2025 if that's a fight that happens.
Crazy. You're crazy.
Okay.
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
You don't think Jake wants it?
No.
What?
Jake would want Canelo?
Absolutely.
No. What Jake would want have we not seen the back catalogue of dangerous people that he's fought and the age of them?
To him,
You think
it's
he's
a
going to
bucket
fight
list.
Canelo?
It's a bucket list. Plus, he'll have the size advantage.
Doesn't matter.
Canelo will whoop him.
Doesn't matter. No,
Most
Canelo,
likely.
no. But no, there's a whooping and there's hurting him.
Okay.
I think Canelo will hurt him.
Will Canelo sign up for this?
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Canelo would.
So you actually believe
I
that
think
it's
it's
more
the
like...
other side. I think Jake would want to wait that out a couple more years.
He's the one who brought up Canelo.
Yeah, but he's brought it up just for us to do what we're doing now. I think Jake would fight Canelo, but I'm thinking more like 3 or 4 years down the line. I don't think he fight 2020 next year. Canelo? No, Canelo would hurt him.
Why can't you do Canelo versus Jake? I don't know if it does as well as far as attendance, but at AT&T Stadium, Onse
Sells out.
on Netflix,
Sells out.
it's maybe not as big, but it's pretty damn big.
No, it's
Because everyone will be like,
close.
this is the one. This is the guy to shut him up. This is the guy to knock him out. Finally, we do it.
I don't. And I'm guessing Nikisa's watching this and Jake's watching this, and they were like coming at it. I don't think Jake would want to fight Canelo next year.
Wow.
I think Jake would want to fight him. He's called him out a few times in the last few years, but not this version of Canelo that's still healthy, still young, can be big as well if he wants to be. Canelo walk around about 200 pounds and balls down to 168. Canelo would wreck him and like it'll break him in half.
Okay, so who does he want to fight? If you're team MVP right now, who are you booking him against in 2025? Who's the next fight against?
Conor McGregor.
Really? Well, first of all,
one.
but that's never going to happen.
Why?
Well, Conor McGregor fights for the UFC. The UFC hates Nikisa and Jake Paul. He's
When does Conor's contract
more
end?
fights. It'll never happen.
Okay, so,
this is fictional. There's a much better chance of Canelo happening. Canelo can happen tomorrow. He's not tied to anyone. They can make the deal with PBC or whomever.
Do you think Canelo would answer that call?
1,000,000%. Canelo's in the money-making business.
But Canelo's also in the...
He's in the prize-fighting business.
Yeah, he's also in the
got enough
legacy business as well. I know he
I'm
is.
doing-
He's
I'm
in the
doing this
legacy
for-
business.
I'm
He's in
doing
the
this for-
legacy business.
I'm doing this for Uncle Mike.
I'm doing this for Mike Tyson.
I'm doing this for Mike. The same thing Ryan Garcia is trying to pitch
Yeah, the
now.
same thing
And
everyone's
and so how do you feel, by the way, when you see Artur Beterbiev,
Yeah.
Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these guys now trying to pick a fight with Jake
You know
Paul?
what? This is prize fighting, Ariel. And the biggest prize in boxing isn't the belts, it's the money. Plus, if you're Beterbiev, you've won, you've become undisputed. You're 40 years old soon. Okay, just give me the fights that are going to make me the biggest paycheck in the world and the easiest work. They weigh it up, risk reward. There is no disrespect to Jake. Again, there is zero risk in Beterbiev fighting Jake. The reward is, I mean, you're getting paid 25 million. And Daniel Dubois is probably thinking, dude, this is a round. This is half a round of boxing. Ryan Garcia is actually quite interesting though.
Why?
Because Ryan's smaller.
Yeah.
Ryan's smaller, and Ryan will sell it. Like Ryan fight will be bigger than. I would argue this is gonna. You call me crazy. I think a Ryan fight could do bigger numbers than a Canelo fight. Call me crazy.
No,
Call
he
me crazy.
will sell
Call
it.
Me crazy.
It's just like, how big can Ryan get? 170?
Yeah, that's what. How big does he need to get? That's
Okay, 170 versus 200?
easy.
I know, but
There's got to be a difference when a guy is fresh and young and a professional boxer. You've got to equalize it somehow, and size is the equalizer.
who's sanctioning that?
Anyone?
You think so?
Yeah,
But that's like going over like 8 different weight
they
classes.
will do it.
Yeah.
You know what it is?
That's a bigger black eye than the Tyson fight.
No, it's not. You're crazy. You're crazy.
But I mean, that's a pretty big jump. There's weight classes for a reason.
Yeah,
now,
but you know what-
obviously, the offset is Ryan's
You
skill.
could say they're both light heavyweights, right? So as long as Jake comes in under 200, he's a light heavy. And if you know what I mean, he could do light heavies. He
yeah.
could almost be in that light heavy. He's not. He's below the cruiserweight limit, so you could almost do it like that. But Jake's got options. But I think it's an interesting one. I still think he wants to go down the route of becoming a world champion. I still think he wants to go down that route. But I also think he knows he can't be a world champion. I think he knows deep down after the Tommy Fury fight at Wall. Geez, I know that's a couple of years ago, but I think he knows there are levels to this. There are levels.
Is he not better than he was back then? I think he's improved a little bit.
Yeah, but
since
how's
then.
good Tommy?
No, that's fair. But I think he has improved a little bit just by virtue of stepping through the ropes a couple more times, 3 or 4 more times.
Has he fought anyone better than Tommy Fury since? So in terms of levels, he's gone backwards in terms of actual levels. Is there a reason for that? You know him better than I do. Is there a reason, since the Tommy Fury defeat, that he's gone backwards in terms of level of opponent?
I don't think it's because of him trying to shy away. He's jumping around looking for the biggest sort of money fight. So Nate Diaz is a big time fight.
Yeah.
Who would have criticized him for that?
Yeah.
Initially, I don't think anyone did. Oh, okay, this makes sense. And then he went through those couple other ones.
Yeah.
And now we know in retrospect those were just a bridge to get to the Tyson fight. The Tyson fight gets delayed. Oh, Mike Perry's going to do it. A lot of people had convinced themselves.
I didn't mind that, you know.
The bare knuckle guy.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I mean, I watched Mike in BKFC. I used to watch Mike in UFC. I didn't mind it. I was actually surprised
how poor he did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit like, whoa, okay. That shows how good Jake is now.
And so isn't this the greatest indicator that Jake Paul is good for boxing? Because people like to make the argument that he is bad for boxing. Number one, you have stars and legitimate champions like Artur Beterbiev, Daniel Dubois. I know Garcia isn't a champion, but legit talented fighters asking to get that lottery ticket. That's what they want.
Yeah, they want the payday.
And then you have Carl Froch begging for it. You have Tony Bellew.
These are the ones. See now, finally, how long has it gone? 20 minutes, you finally got into the realm of real fights that I want to see him fight.
Okay.
Tony Bellew, Carl Froch, Andre Ward.
Can I tell you something right now? Tony Bellew, and I like Tony a lot. One side of his mouth says, this is a sham. Other side of his mouth took a payday to fly from the UK to Texas to sit there for 1 minute of camera time. Guess what? The betting company that paid him ain't paying him to crash any other press conference. So you have to at least acknowledge that you are all trying to take from him. Now the other thing is
him being good for boxing. I mean,
boxers.
Okay,
and the other thing is, much love, Tony. Much love. He was sitting there. I was doing the press conference. Not a soul knew who he was. And I'm just in America, in Texas.
They didn't know who he was.
Tony Bellew.
He was in Creed.
Yeah, okay.
Creed movies.
They probably know him more from that than his actual fighting days that he fought Usyk. The point is, Tony Bellew versus Carl Froch does nothing, or Carl Froch do nothing in America. You acknowledge that, yes?
Okay.
Come on. Carl Froch.
Okay, Andre Ward.
Andre Ward is a fantastic fight.
Would he fight Andre Ward, do you think?
Jake?
Yeah.
I know Andre would do it.
Would Jake fight Andre Ward? 7 years out of the ring. He's an old man now. He's in his 40s, I believe.
He's not.
He's an old man.
He is in tip-top shape.
Yeah, but he's old.
Yeah.
But would he fight Andre Ward?
Maybe down the line. Here's the thing. Does Andre bring the juice? Does he bring the heat?
Bring some juice.
I love Andre.
Some heat.
I think
brings more heat than Brandon, whatever that guy's name he fought. Who's the guy that he fought? The boxer.
Ryan Borland.
It brings more heat than him.
Yeah, of course, but those were just like cupcake fights.
Okay. I think people would respect Jake so much. And by the way, I respect Jake, by the way. I just want to get that out there. I think they would respect him so much if he were to fight Andre Ward.
More so than Canelo. Because the general public knows Canelo way more.
Canelo's easy. You know why? It's a win-win.
Because he's smaller.
No, it's a win-win because everyone expects you to get knocked out completely in the first couple of rounds by Canelo, as would happen. With Andre Ward, because he has been retired for so long, and Jake's a lot bigger, you never know.
The one I really want to see is Jake Paul versus Christian Mbili. I'm just trying. I just wanted to pop you again.
You're Canadian.
I just wanted to pop you again. We could talk about this for hours. Yeah. And ultimately, this is why I love it, this topic, and why I think it's ultimately good for boxing. Because every single boxer or fighter or MMA guy or whatever has profited off of Jake. Yeah. And gotten maybe their biggest payday. Everyone's talking about boxing on this week after. It's a barbershop debate.
I've never seen so many fighters, ex-fighters, current fighters call out a fighter after a win. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. Every different weight class.
It's a beautiful thing, and no one has benefited and profited in a good way more so than Amanda Serrano. Amanda Serrano was fighting for $20K before she met Jake Paul and Nikita Bidarian. Here she is fighting Katie Taylor on the biggest stage ever in an all-time classic. And I'll be honest with you, like the next day when I came back home and I'm at my kid's soccer game, the parents are coming up to me, not really to talk about Jake and Mike, to talk about the heart, the will, the determination that both of them showed, the cut, all that stuff. I mean, that was a war. The first fight was a classic. The 20 rounds that they've shared have been incredible. And so that fight, you know the promotional game.
Yeah.
You know the politics.
Yeah.
Those two couldn't have been further away from each other.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One's fighting at 126, the other one's fighting at 140. Their two promoters hate each other, but Netflix and this stage brought them together. You saw the fight, obviously.
Yeah.
Who won?
Amanda by one. Amanda 96-94.
And that's including the point deduction.
Point deduction.
Do you agree with the point deduction?
Yeah, the heads were coming in quite a lot from Katie.
Was she doing it on purpose?
No, I don't think she's doing it on purpose. I think when Katie just sees red and rage, it's funny with Katie because she's so nice.
Yeah.
She is so nice. I mean, she's praying before the fight.
Yeah.
She's the most God-fearing fighter I've ever known, by the way. But once that red mist descends, it's win by any means possible. And she just scraps. That's what it is. She just scraps. Sometimes the heads will come in. And remember as well, it's a southpaw versus an orthodox. So there is a case of feet are just going to cross over sometimes and there's going to be a bit of imbalance there. But I don't think she did it on purpose. But I do think Amanda won. I thought Katie won the first fight. I thought Amanda won the second fight. I want to see a trilogy. I feel so sorry for Amanda that she's done 20 rounds with Katie. And obviously she's got paid. But she hasn't got any W next to her name. Yeah. It's almost like the rounds were so close. They were so good. It was so action-packed. And she hasn't got anything to show for it apart from a severely bad eye now, which is, by the way, that cut was horrendous.
Yeah, it was gruesome.
And any other fight card in any other place in America.
Certainly in the UK, right?
It's off.
Yeah.
The fight's off immediately. So, look, I'm happy for both. I'm happy for Katie. I'm happy for Amanda. And by the way, that's another thing. Because people don't understand the weight classes, because in the ring they kind of look the same size. I don't think people understood, and it wasn't really told well, I don't think, on commentary, that this is a girl from 126 pounds fighting a girl at 140, basically. Like, Amanda's given up so much weight here. So much weight, but yes, she's still scrapped. So,
and that the first one was at 35, which I kind of hated that this one was at 40. So there were a couple things working against her. A, the extra 5. In the end, it was like 3. That was kind of a weird thing.
I'd love to know what they weighed on the night.
Yeah.
Because Katie does look quite thick, and Amanda's quite lean and muscular. So I think Katie had even a bigger advantage on the fight night as well.
Do you think if either of those fights had 3-minute rounds, that Serrano would have stopped her? Because you can make a case in that first round, it was getting super dicey there.
The thing is with Katie, and this is not me just sticking up for her because, Matchroom and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, it is. Every time she looks like she's either going to go down or get wobbled, she somehow has this, a bit like Tyson Fury, but he does go down. Yeah. She has this power of recovery where she always stays on her feet. Like, there's so many times in the first fight and the second fight, even Chantel Cameron was like, oh, she's getting knocked out here. But she doesn't get knocked out. She doesn't get knocked down. So I don't know. I do think there's been a lot of talks about 12 3-minute rounds. It's too long.
There's something magical about the 2 minutes and the burst of speed. I do love, of course, the equal opportunity. In MMA, there was once a time where women were fighting 3-minute rounds. They bumped it up to 5. Everything's equal. And so there's a part of me that feels like they can handle it, but there's also something that makes those fights that much more exciting. Michaela Mayer versus Sandy Ryan was a fantastic fight, and I don't know if it's as good if they're 3-minute rounds. It probably is.
No, it isn't. No, I don't think it is. I don't think they go at the pace they go at.
Yeah.
If it's 3 minutes. I think they almost do what guys do, where they kind of circle each other for the first minute, and then the last 20-second clap, and then they go crazy. I think you do 12 twos.
12 twos?
I think you do 12 twos. I do think there needs to be, when it's a championship fight, I do think you need 12 twos. You need to separate just a normal female fight from a title female fight.
That's a fair...
And I think 12 twos is okay, because that's another 4 minutes. I think asking them to go 12 threes as opposed to 10 twos, 10 twos is 20 minutes, 12 threes is 36. You want them to go nearly double? Double is crazy. Like, it's not fair. It's not fair. And if you're going to go that, pay them. If you're going to go that, they've got to be paid.
And they seem to be very happy with their pay. I should let the public know that in about 15 minutes' time, Katie Taylor's promoter, the great Eddie Hearn of Matchroom, will be joining us. We can ask him some of these questions because I do believe that unless there's another Netflix event, this fight ain't happening, the third fight.
Yeah, I mean, there's been talks for years about Croke Park.
God, Croke Park is like the unicorn in the sky.
Hey, Amanda, Katie,
gigantic.
Connor, Jake. That's how Croke Park gets done. Because you need Connor. You need Connor.
Connor,
God, Jake.
You gave me chills. But it's
Connor, Jake, Amanda.
UFC is not offering up Conor McGregor.
Imagine the Jake, because obviously Tyson was a bit, I don't really want to talk. But imagine Connor versus Jake at the presser.
Team Ireland versus Team MVP. It'd be magic.
Dude, the greatest thing
but it won't happen.
Why?
Dana White hates Nikisa, hates Jake. For those that don't know, Nikisa Badarian, who's the co-founder of MVP, was once the CFO of the UFC. And when the UFC was sold in 2016 to Endeavor, Nikisa was part of that deal. And as the story goes, Dana didn't really get along with him and didn't really love his involvement in the deal. When Lorenzo Fertitta left the UFC, Nikisa went with him. So he departed and then started this this promotional company with Jake, and there's a part of Dana that kind of feels like, this guy's taking our secrets. He's trying to come up against us. He's talking about fighter pay and all this other stuff. Like, hey, it's a little bit too much.
I wonder if Nikisa then was a bit like Jake, kind of rein it in a little bit. You know when Jake really went for Dana?
Yeah.
I wonder if Nikisa was like, oh, 1 second, don't.
I just think that story had kind of run its course.
What,
like that feud.
Fighter pay and stuff?
Jake versus MMA, Dana. Jake versus the UFC, Jake versus Dana kind of ran its course. But I would love to see it. If it's not Amanda 3, and I wonder if it happens next, there is a part of me that wouldn't hate the idea of of Katie retiring.
No, I've wanted Katie to retire since the Amanda 1.
Yeah, she's taken a lot of damage.
And like
Amanda, Chantel, Amanda, those 4 fights alone.
Yeah, I mean, Delphine Persoon was brutal. Natasha Jonas was tough to watch as well. Delphine Persoon twice, those fights, she took way too much punishment. And there's always, you know what it is? I can understand why a fighter wants to go out on a high. Madison Square Garden was the high of all highs when you beat Amanda. That was it. I mean, it was full of Irish in there, Puerto Rican. It was fantastic. Then, okay, cool. And then you lose to Chantel, and then you get the get back. Okay, that's the perfect place to go out. And now you beat Amanda, 70 million or whatever watts. That's the perfect place to get out. I think Katie's 38. She would have made a lot of money, hopefully, in the last 3 or 4 years under Eddie and now MVP. When's the time to say enough's enough? Honestly, I don't understand, because there's going to be so many young, hungry girls coming up. People have been talking about Alicia Baumgardner potentially, and I'm like, I don't want to see it. Like, you've done what you needed to do. Her CV is solidified. I remember you had Dimitri Salita here, and he was arguing for Clarissa Shields as being the GOAT. And although Clarissa probably is from a just a standpoint of who's the better boxer, Katie's CV just smashes everyone's to pieces. Like, destroys everyone. She is the GOAT, 100%. So she can go out as the best female fighter of all time. I think the longer she stays, obviously she risks losing. And I just want her to kind of go out with all her faculties in place. I think she's great for the sport. I think she should stick around as well. And she should almost be the ambassador for female boxing forever.
I don't think she's interested in any of this.
She ain't interested in any of that.
No.
She's Irish. Of course she wants to fight.
She gets mad at you when you even like start bringing up retirement.
Yeah, and you know, if she gets mad, you know there's a problem, because she doesn't get mad.
Right.
And look, she makes a lot of money. And you know, the worst thing about boxing in general is that the fighters make the most money when they're past their best. Like, this isn't Katie Taylor when she came out of the Olympics. That Katie Taylor, like, I mean, whole different level. She's slowed down a bit. She takes a lot more shots now. So it's almost like, but I'm making so much money now. They're paying me much more than I got paid 5 years ago. So I'm going to stick around. It's the same thing for AJ and Fury and Usyk, and Wilder wants to come back. So she might have that problem as well. The checks are too big to call it quits.
Yeah, and people hate when I bring this up, but do you know why the checks are so big?
Why?
Because of Jake Paul. That first fight, it's like, I know people say, oh, you're shilling. I'm not shilling. I've never gotten paid by MVP. I don't work for promotional companies.
Do you not?
No, I do not. Stop it. You know this. This is the thing. Amanda, how long were we talking about Amanda and Katie? For all those years. It only happened once they came along, right? At MSG of all places.
Yeah.
And this one only happens because of the Netflix opportunity. And so I just think, don't be haters. Give credit where it's due.
No. Hey, one thing I've always said to you, I've said it, like, and I've spoken to Amanda. Amanda's been kind enough to take me out for breakfast, and she spoke to me about sort of the predicament she was in before Jake.
Yeah.
And it now. And I salute Jake for what he's done for Amanda, because I love Amanda Serrano. And she deserves to get everything she's getting now, everything and then some. So I love Jake for what he's done for female boxing. And look, if it's a case of, you know, he's helping Katie make more money, then so be it. But I think for Katie, because I love her so much, health is wealth.
Oh, 1,000%.
And they take both of them, by the way, Amanda and Katie are taking a lot of punishment.
That was her 51st pro fight, Amanda Serrano.
And Katie's been boxing. Katie used to spar guys.
Yeah.
Used to spar dudes. No.
What I was saying there was just kind of putting a bow on it all. The idea that all of this is bad for boxing is hogwash, because what was the biggest issue, at least for me, for many years, was there would be a massive fight. Like, what was the chief support for Mayweather Pacquiao? No one remembers this
Danny
shit.
Garcia, no, I can't remember. I think it wasn't Garcia.
But the point is, like, it would always be the top two guys and nothing below. And look what happened Saturday. The chief support, or Friday, the co-main event outshined going in, and it outshined coming out, because all the hardcore boxing people said, please, like, come a little early, come an hour early and watch these two.
Can I say this? I know you're putting a bow on it, which basically means Ade, shut up, we're moving on.
Yes.
But I will say this. All the fighters that fight on the Jake Paul cards, I think people should ask them if Jake's bad for boxing. And every single one of them would say absolutely not, because they're getting paid straight away. Their social media's going up, the people following them's going up. I mean, ask Barrios.
Yeah.
That fight there was crazy.
Incredible.
And they're getting paid. So you're right. I think,
and these are traditional boxers. They're not influencers.
No,
They're like
these are real
dudes.
boxers.
Yeah.
These are real boxers. So maybe you are right. Maybe I need to apologize to Jake.
And to me as well. Let us move along and talk about the big news of the day as far as boxing is concerned. And we're not trying to do this, but it is an influencer type of fight. It's the rival of MVP. It's Misfits. They had their press conference today for
They kind of are the rivals, aren't they?
In a way, but they're occupying very different spots.
Right
we can
now
get into that in a moment, but let me just set up that Darren Till and Tommy Fury had their kickoff press conference January 18th. Ordinarily, perhaps, if you're not here, you might have been there. This is happening January 18th at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester on DAZN pay-per-view. It's another X Series Misfits event on DAZN. We were there in October of last year when it was KSI Tommy. Now it's KSI promoting Tommy, and he's really sticking it to him. With that,
I'm paying you.
This is what happened. If in case you missed it, it popped off earlier today between the Furies and Till.
You're an empty head. Hey, you're an absolute. Hey, yo, 6 p.m., baby, get your tickets.
Okay, so there it is, KSI with the plug on the back end. You've been there before when John Fury pops off. What is that like being in that spot?
He's crazy because he's so big, and it's actually quite intimidating. Because I don't know, there's part of me that's like, okay, is he like a WWE manager where this is all fake? Or is he going to actually really go for someone? And when the rage sets in, I mean, I was there when he headbutted Alexander Usyk, I don't know, member of his team. So he's for real. So you don't know if he's joking or for real, so I just stay away. Like, I'm not one of those people to get involved. I'm like, okay, 1 second. I don't get paid enough, so I step back.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? I don't get paid that much. So I find it quite scary. But Darren Till is a former UFC fighter. He's not like me. He's hard. He's like really tough, and he clearly wanted some. I mean, if you're a UFC fighter, I think they always take the mick, UFC fighters, don't they, or MMA fighters. If they're at press conferences, they know they can beat everyone up.
Yeah.
So they know it, don't they? There's no, like Ngannou said it's a Fury. Like, you're lucky there's rules here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think Darren's knowing that well. Like, John, you're big, and Tommy, you're big, but I will beat both of you up. And he's confident about it. I love it.
What's your level of interest in this fight?
So big, I've already asked Mams Taylor if I can be involved.
Serious?
I'm not joking. I tweeted
I thought you were taking the piss.
I'm not joking. Go to my Twitter page right now. I said that, Mams, this is going to be crazy. Can I get involved? I want to.
Okay, why? Because I'm surprised, Mr. Traditional Boxing.
You know what it is? Well, I just like big events.
Yeah.
I've just realized it's that for me. I just want to be around big events. Like, you know, you do some small events. And when I saw you in Dallas, I was like, this is enormous. I want to be there for those big ones. So yeah. And there'll be 20,000 there plus.
And what do you think? Like, this is very much a UK grudge match, if you will. Tommy, a Manchester guy, it was sold out. And obviously there was Logan Paul on that card and whatnot, but I was blown away by the crowd. That's the only Misfits event that I've ever been to. And they were there early and they were young.
Yeah.
It was like a WWE crowd. It was like 12-year-old kids there, which blew me away, but speaks to the connection that they have with the audience. This is at the Co-op Live, and it's Manchester versus Liverpool.
Yeah.
Do you think they sell it out?
Very close to it.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I don't know how many people in the UK, Mams might hate me saying this, apologies, Mams, know Darren Till. They know Tommy. Obviously, Tommy's.
You don't think they know Darren Till?
I don't know. Like, we know Darren Till.
I mean, the MMA audience. So now you're drawing in the MMA crowd.
Maybe so. But I think because of what he did in the press conference today, even if you don't know him, you're like, oh my God, who's this crazy guy?
For a UFC title. Yeah. I mean, he was a UFC star. They pushed him. 02. No, you're not impressed.
No, it is. Remember, you've seen the age demographic at some of these your sort of Misfits events. It's not necessarily the same demographic as a UFC event.
That's fair.
So they're a bit younger. So I wonder if the younger audience, I'm talking the 13 to 20. I don't know if that's the audience that Mams gets for these Misfits events. I wonder if they know who he is. But they will now. That's why you need a good press conference. And I think the press conference there has really got everyone pumped.
So is Tommy Fury just like a full-on influencer boxer now?
Dude, I have no idea what he's doing. I think he's decided, like, you know what, I can get bags of money fighting guys that don't fight professionally. So why stick?
Do you think he's done with it?
He's done with it.
Are you disappointed?
Very.
Why? Because you think he could be better, and
I just want to see. I actually just want to see if he can compete. He's a cruiserweight, and we've got so many good cruiserweights. Like, how good are you? This isn't a. Remember, this is. He's coming from boxing stock. This isn't someone that took up the sport like AJ at 18. He's been boxing for a long time. Are you going to take this thing seriously? Are you going to really fight? And he's obviously said no. He said no, not verbally by the people
Think he ever goes back?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Why would you go back? How much did he get paid to fight KSI? Millions, right? It's probably going to get a good 7 figures to fight Darren Till. How much is he going to get paid to fight someone for the Southern area or Central area title or British title?
What's the point?
50 grand? Why am I risking getting beaten up for 50 grand when I can beat up a couple of YouTubers for $1 million?
So again, it goes back to the money, right? It goes back to...
Everything goes back to the money, Ariel. Why do you think I'm here? You think I'm here for free? Do you think they're just floating me out and paying me £1? No,
but the point is, people are profiting off of whatever this is, if you want to call it influencer boxing and all that stuff. And he's one. Now, not everyone can do this, right? Not everyone can be...
No, you've got to have the... well, everyone can, but you're not going to get paid.
Is he as big of a deal still?
Tommy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's massive.
Is he still?
Yeah,
Love Island, that still sticks with you?
It's not just that. It's obviously he's... I think ex-partner now. It's the fight with KSI. People were still interested. He fight with Jake Paul. Like, by the way, his stock has grown fighting those guys as well.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Highlander effect, right? You beat them, you take their power. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Remember? Do you really?
I've heard of it. I'm not a big movie guy.
Wow. So anyway, Highlander, he chops your head off, you get the power. So I think that he's beat KSI. He's got a bit of KSI's following. He beat Jake Paul. He's got a bit of his following. And both of those guys still call him out.
Oh, yeah.
Both still call him out.
Well, the thing is, I feel like Jake has kind of moved on a little bit, or at least if Tyson didn't come through, would it not have been Tommy? Am I wrong? Did I not hear that from Jake? Tommy has a bit of an issue coming to the United States.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that. But I would like to say this, and I'd love your take. To me, if I could pick one, like we were talking about, I still would love to see the Jake KSI fight. Do I feel like it's fizzled a little bit? Absolutely. But what is so great about it is it feels authentic. Like they truly hate each other. The thing is, KSI isn't the name here that he is where you're from. So that fight almost has to be
that's fine
at Wembley.
And I think
does Jake take that? Yeah?
Jake would trouble. I don't know if KSI is too small. Jake's enormous. What was he, 220? At this point,
he's getting bigger. Yeah, well, he weighed 228, but that was because he put on...
Yeah, but you can just go up and down and weight like that, so he can just go back down to 200? He can just drop 30 pounds?
He was just at 200 against Mike Perry.
Okay, so even 200 pounds. I mean, KSI against Tommy, I think KSI was like 170 something. So the difference, and not only that, by the way, I think the difference in boxing's grown as well. I think Jake's gone.
He's gone better.
He's far too.
Do you think we ever see that fight?
We should. If we don't, then
it's a shame.
That fight breaks the internet.
The internet.
That fight breaks the internet. I don't think people understand, especially American people, how big KSI is. Maybe just outside of America, but everyone else. I mean, he goes to Australia and people sort of mob him. He is so famous. And then obviously you get Logan Paul involved. You're going to get that Show Speed. What's his name?
Show Speed.
Show Speed. You're going to get him
don't
involved.
pretend like you don't know his name.
I kind of
don't pretend.
I kind of do. You're going to get everyone involved. It'll be enormous.
Kai Cenat.
I know him as well.
Yeah.
He does the streaming thing.
This is all my kids watch.
Yeah, you watch it as as well.
Nah, I think it's crazy. It's literally a guy at a computer.
I think Show Speed is the greatest.
He's out of his mind.
I think he's fantastic.
I'm
surprised he's not had him on here. He says he wants to fight Jake Paul.
Show Speed?
He says he said he doesn't think Jake can fight.
Our show's too big for him.
He says he doesn't think Jake can fight. He said give him, I think he said a few months he'll beat
Everyone calling him out. Clearly.
He's an athlete though, you know.
Oh, come on. He runs and he jumps over cars. He's not an athlete.
What can you do?
He does the suey.
What can you do?
I was a Canadian Jewish Olympic basketball champion. Well,
I didn't know that was a thing. Okay. Cool.
Speaking of athletes, let us say hello to the very first guest in the history of this program. You know, we asked for a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And they said, no, it has to be bigger. And I said, well, I don't know. I don't want to shoot for the moon. Yeah. But you know what they say, Ade?
Go on.
Shoot for the moon, land among the stars.
And we have a star.
We have the man himself, the founder of Matchroom Boxing, or at least the face of Matchroom Boxing. There he is.
Oh, my God.
And he's so busy, he has to join us from the car, Eddie. I mean, this is our debut episode. You couldn't be bothered? Is that really what we're doing?
You know what? When they told me it was at 10:45, I was like, I'll have my pajamas on. I'll be ready to go to bed. And I had to go and film a TV show tonight. But I still made it happen in the car. I nearly hung up when you were debating about Show Speed fighting someone. But I'm still here.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time out. It's very, very kind of you. Let us get into it because we were just talking about the Tommy Fury, Darren Till press conference that turned into a whole mess of a situation earlier today. You've been at those before. Just your thoughts on this matchup and, the direction that it appears as though Tommy continues to go down.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really our world, to be honest with you. I think it's commercially an interesting matchup. I think, Tommy Fury's a big name. Darren Till's a great personality. You got a guy that's not really good enough to be a professional boxer at a championship level against the UFC fighter that has, the boxing fundamentals. So I think in respect of the matchup, I think it's quite an even matchup, in all honesty. I do worry about Darren, in terms of keeping his composure in the ring, if things don't go his way. But certainly from a Misfits perspective, I don't mind it, because I think, it's leaning more towards the world of professional boxing than the world of social media. And yeah, for me, it's as a kind of appreciator of Misfits, but not really a fan or a viewer of Misfits. I like the matchup because I think, there is some form of skill involved from a boxing perspective.
That is such a good, politically correct answer from Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
Honestly,
it's
Eddie,
honest though. Like, I don't.
Fantastic.
If I didn't like it, I'd just tell you I didn't like it. But I don't hate it because, Tommy Fury's gone out. He's beaten KSI. He's beaten Jake Paul. He's had some professional fights, and Darren Till is a personality. He's a fighter, and I do think Darren has been training in boxing long enough with Joe McAnally and those guys to have the credentials and the ability to be more than competitive in a fight with Tommy Fury. So in that respect, I don't mind it.
All right, Eddie, let's talk about something that I know you do like and do want to talk about, and that's Katie Taylor victory over Amanda Serrano. I've been lucky enough to be ringside and see you get emotional when your guy or girl wins. I've never seen you that emotional, ever. That there was you taking it to another level. Why so much emotion?
Well, loads of reasons, really. I mean, firstly, it was such a defining fight for Katie, who I admire so much. I've absolutely loved being part of her journey. She means a lot to me personally. She means a lot to the company. And she means a huge amount to women's boxing. And I'm just one of her biggest fans. We all know that in the build-up, we feel like we didn't quite get the respect that we deserved as a kind of co-promoter within the fight. And during the fight, there was a lot said from where we were sitting. Obviously, during a fight, you give your opinion and your advice, but I felt like there was a lot of disrespect towards Katie Taylor and a lot of comments that I didn't really like, and I probably bit a little bit. And when we got the decision, it was just one pure relief, of victory in a big fight, and two, the celebrations were almost like I guess with all honesty, like a middle finger up to the people that were saying specific things during the fight that I thought was really disrespectful. But maybe I went a little bit OTT, and if anyone was offended, I apologise. But that's just me, and that's how much I want to win. That's how much I care and respect for my fighters, and that's what it meant to us as a team to get that victory.
Yeah, there's been a lot of noise about the scorecards. Look, the first fight was close. This one was super close as well. What do you make of that? I mean, controversial, or did you think Katie did enough to win?
Not at all. I mean, look, let's be honest. The Netflix commentary was a joke.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? You got they want.
Whoa, are you including me in that, or I'm excluded?
It was
right?
a joke. That was awful.
Scoring. I don't know if you were scoring, Ariel, but I see the person who gives the first 3 rounds to Amanda Serrano has never watched a boxing fight in their entire life. I mean, there is no way she wins the second and third rounds of that fight. Even in the first round, Katie completely dominated the round and got caught with one massive shot at the end of the round. So, the whole thing all week was unbelievably one-sided. And we were the away fighter. We were treated as such. And, you've only got to listen to people who follow boxing to listen to the commentary. And you've got, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but people that aren't qualified to score fights of that magnitude. Yeah. And you've got for me, it was a 6-4 fight to Katie Taylor with a point deducted. I thought the 95-94 was bang on. It could have gone the other way. And you couldn't have gone against it. Could have been a draw. But for me, I thought Katie Taylor edged the fight. There was a point deduction for use of the head, which, there was no real warning of prior, no official warning prior, which is standard procedure before you take a point. It was a rough fight. You've got a southpaw against an orthodox fighter. was a bit messy at times. It was a tremendous fight, but I thought the scoring was bang on and so good that we actually had 3 judges in agreement for once, rather than 197-93 one way, 197-93 the other way. So yeah, I thought it was very good scoring.
And so, as you know, Eddie, the beauty in all of this is that not only did we get to see another classic, 20 tremendous rounds, some 50 million or so people, according to Netflix, watched that particular fight, the most watched event for women's sports in U.S. history. And at least I'll tell you from my perspective, and I'm sure you experienced something similar, everyone, my friends who know nothing about boxing, who never watch boxing events, only want to talk to me about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. They had never heard of Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano a week ago. And I say that acknowledging that they're 2 of the biggest stars in the sport of boxing, but this broke through. And so the question they all ask me is, will they do it again? My fear, though, is unless it's a Netflix type of situation, given the current relationship between MVP and Matchroom, we're never going to see a 3rd fight. Am I wrong?
I disagree. I mean, that depends on probably MVP. I mean, look, Katie Taylor's with Matchroom, and DAZN, and don't forget that DAZN allowed that fight to take place, really, and that was important that we do that because it was a tremendous opportunity for Katie Taylor. She was financially very well rewarded for that fight. The audience was incredible, and I think despite our differences with MVP, I think Nikita and Jake and MVP did a tremendous job on the show. Tremendous job. I have no problem saying it, and we're very grateful for the opportunity. I saw Nikita's interview today with Off the Ball, and he's like saying, no one thought Katie won the fight, and Amanda's the biggest star in boxing, and Katie Taylor's not appreciated like Amanda Serrano. I mean, it's all irrelevant, really. The reality is they've got their options, we've got our options. It's 2-0 to Katie Taylor. I don't think Katie would have an issue doing a 3rd. But it's not going to be just, no regard for Katie Taylor and her team to make one of the biggest fights in the sport, forget in women's boxing. And I think commercially it's a great opportunity to do it again. And the numbers that, like you say, I think the response has been incredible. It was so great for not just women's boxing, but for boxing to see an audience like that dialed in and tuned in. So I certainly don't rule out the 3rd. Katie's probably got 3 or 4 options right now. And Amanda Serrano is definitely one that she would entertain.
You mentioned those 3-4 options. Any one of those options, retirement, would you ever bring up? She's, as we said, been doing this for so long, taking some damage. She's such a legend. Everyone adores her. Is there any part of you that thinks in the back of their mind, maybe there's nothing? Of course, there's going to be big fights, big opportunities, but maybe now's the time to walk away.
I think, to be honest, Ariel, I think it's going to take something special to get her motivated at this point now. I mean, she's always motivated, but she's done so much. I mean, she sold out MSG. She's boxed at Dallas Cowboy Stadium, 80,000 at Millennium Stadium, sold out arenas in Ireland twice, boxed in front of 90,000 at Wembley. Like, she's done it all. So there are a couple of things that she would love to tick off the box before she walks away. One, of course, is Croke Park, which has been well documented in the past. And the other one is Las Vegas, which is definitely appealing to her and something that she's always wanted to do. So I think there's no secret that Katie Taylor may not be as sharp as she once was. But what she has got is bundles of heart and a will to win bigger than I've ever seen in any form of boxing before. And it's her pure will to win that's getting her through these fights at this stage in her career. So if she decides to walk away right now, I'll be a very happy man. Eddie, but I also understand through Saturday and through her stock rising to incredible levels that there will be opportunities that she will find it very difficult to resist.
Yeah, she'll fight again. There's no doubt about it. She'll fight again. Eddie, I want to talk the main event. Look, everyone's had their say on whether it's good for boxing, bad for boxing. I remember watching an interview with yourself and you said you walked away, you only watched a round or so. What's the answer to that question, considering 108 million people watched it? Good for boxing or bad for boxing, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
I mean, look, without Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano wouldn't have fought in front of whatever it was, 60, 70 million audience. You know, Mario Barrios and Abel Ramos wouldn't have that kind of exposure. You know, other Shadesia Green. So I don't think you can say it's bad for boxing. I think there was no one, honestly, that enjoyed that fight. And if you know anything about boxing, you also know that was always how it was going to be. It was a 27-year-old man against a 58-year-old man. And, you know, I think the whole show was incredible. You know, I thought the production was great. I know there was a lot of streaming issues and tech issues, but the show itself, you know, the build-up, the press conferences, the weigh-ins, I thought it was done really, really well. But I hated watching every minute of that main event. And I don't know a fight fan that really did. But it doesn't, we live in a world where it doesn't really matter. You know, it's a circus out there in this respect. And you can't knock MVP for driving the numbers that they're driving. And if we could, you know, don't forget, remember when we did Logan Paul against KSI? I put Devin Haney on the undercard. I put Billy Joe Saunders on the undercard. I put a load of our young talent on the undercard because I knew there'd be more eyeballs than normal. And that's what this form of boxing allows us to do. So I don't think you can knock it in that respect. I would like to see Jake in a real fight, a competitive fight. Because who knows his level? But his level is not a 58-year-old man who can't stand up after a couple of rounds.
Perfect. Okay, you know, Eddie, this leads on perfect to the next point. Me and Ariel were arguing or debating about Jake Paul's next opponent. Ariel said that Jake Paul could fight Canelo in 2025. I said absolutely no chance would Jake fight Canelo. It would be worth hundreds of millions, right? If it was on Netflix or DAZN, it would break pay-per-view numbers, etc., etc. Do you think Jake would fight Canelo next year?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo took that fight because Canelo's just about the money. And it's such an easy night for him. But I think Jake's matchmaking is really smart. They've never been, other than the Tommy Fury fight that they lost, they've never been in a fight where there was any danger at all, really, other than the first 20 seconds against Mike Tyson. They obviously know as well that against Canelo Alvarez, unless they're just deluded beyond, you know, any imagination, they know that it all ends against Canelo Alvarez. So will they take that challenge? Maybe, if the money was astronomical. But, you know, the problem is everyone keeps saying Jack Paul needs to fight somebody.
You know what? You know, I just realized
we lost him in the tunnel.
I was watching it and I was thinking, I know the tunnel he's in.
What is that tunnel?
It's Rother Height Tunnel. He's either Blackwall Tunnel or Rother Height Tunnel. And I was like, what's he doing?
Oh, is there Porter Tunnel? Oh, he's there.
He's back.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, I'm just coming out of a tunnel in about 20 seconds.
Okay, sorry. We wouldn't dare disturb you on our premiere episode, so we're so sorry for the inconvenience.
Wait, Eddie, what tunnel was it? Rother Height or Blackwall?
I can't believe there's not a fee.
He doesn't want to tell you.
Doesn't want to tell me what tunnel it is. Eddie, what tunnel was it? Rother Height or Blackwall?
It's the Limehouse Link.
Limehouse Link, damn.
Okay, so let's talk about this because we don't want to keep you. I know it's very late over there. I remember we were sitting, it was 2022, you and Jake were going back and forth. We were doing the face-to-face, and you said, I've got a cruiserweight that you can fight. If you want to fight a top 10 cruiserweight, I got the guy. His name is Jaya Pataya. Jaya Pataya has moved up the rankings quite a bit since then. And on Saturday, Ade was there, Latino night, Riyadh. We had Zurdo Ramirez win. He beat CBS, Chris Bilm-Smith, in a tremendous fight, a tremendous showing on his part. Now a unified champion. What are the chances we get that fight next? Jai versus Zurdo.
That's I mean, it's the best fight in the division by a mile. But also, it's a must-make fight. Like, you know, Oscar's like he seems to be more bothered about the records. You know, records are for DJs. I want real fights. So I want Zepeda against Shakur Stevenson, no problem. Ortiz against Boots, no problem. Zurdo against Opataya, no problem. Barboza against Catterall, no problem. Pacheco against anyone you want. I mean, we've got so many fighters, but he doesn't seem to want to put the fighters in when there's a chance of losing. And unfortunately, as good as Zerdo is, Opetai's a different animal up at cruiserweight. You know, it's a great fight, though. I really feel like that's the kind of fight we should be making. So hopefully he'll oblige.
Yeah, I mean, that there could easily work on a 5 versus 5, Golden Boy versus Matchroom. On that, very quickly, I spoke to Virgil Ortiz and I said, look, Virgil, are you fighting February 22nd? Oscar said yes, Virgil said yes. And I said, okay, give me your list, your preference of fights. And he said number 3, Sebastian Findora, number 2, Boots Ennis, number 1, Terence Crawford. I don't think it's going to be Terence. I potentially think it's going to be one of the other two. Could it be Boots? Would you put Boots in with Virgil?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you know, we're already talking about that fight. One thing we have to acknowledge is that DAZN have invested a lot of money in Boots Ennis, and the plan was to do a big unification fight in the spring. So obviously this fight would land on February 22nd in Saudi Arabia. If it's you know, acceptable to DAZN and the plan that they have for Jaron Boots Ennis, we're okay with it. We accept that fight. Jaron accepts the fight. But, you know, we are talking to the other champions about a potential unification at 147 because he hasn't got long there. You know, the reason that we took the last fight against DAZN was to keep the belt and to unify. So we've got great options, but I do love the Virgil Ortiz-Jaron Ennis fight. I think it's a tremendous fight.
When do you think we will hear more about this February 22nd card? A lot has been said that it's going to be gigantic, that it's going to be the best one.
Yeah, honestly, Ariel, I was going through the card last night with George Warren and Spencer Brown and, you know, His Excellency, and it's the best card I've seen in Riyadh.
Wow.
It really is. You know, obviously now the card's done. I think a lot of the fights are agreed in principle. Contracts have to get signed. So we'll leave it to His Excellency to announce. I don't think it'll be too far away. But it's incredible when you look at this fight, this card from top to bottom. I think it's the best yet.
Well, I mean, debut episode. Let's break some news. Can we get one? Can you give us a morsel? He won't be mad. He loves us.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, you know that Shakur against Zepeda has already been discussed for that card, and you know, I think that for me, I want to see Bivol rematch Beterbiev.
Oh,
you know, I believe that was such a great fight to watch up close, and I believe Dimitri Bivol should be the undisputed champion. So I don't want to give too much away because I'll get told off.
Wow! What?
He's probably even watching now.
Hey, Turkey, how are you?
And if you are, hello. So let's just say they're building something very special, and I can't wait. Listen, I can't wait to get back there December 21st. We've got the small matter of Usyk Fury first.
Okay, yeah, Eddie, don't do that, Eddie. I know you're trying to move away from it now. It's too late. You said it. Wait, so just to be clear, because you said Shakur, Zepeda potentially, Bivol Beterbiev potentially, Hamza, Carlos Adames maybe.
I said that's the rematch that I want to see.
Okay. Sorry.
So
You see what I was doing there.
February 22nd, then that would be tremendous. But you know, there's a lot of fights agreed in principle now, and now it's a case of contracting them before they announce, and I'll let them do that.
Wow, I'm excited by this card.
I'm also excited, Eddie, for the big showdown between Daniel Dubois and Jake Paul. I'm sure you saw that DM. I mean, that's blockbuster stuff, you have to admit, right? Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Jake take that one. That would be a cracker.
Can I ask one more before we let Eddie go? Eddie, any update with regards to AJ? Obviously, look, it's not going to be the Dubois rematch, I don't think. Do you know potentially when we might see the big man out again?
Yeah, it could be the Dubois rematch, but it won't be on February 22nd. So I think it opportunity, of course, to watch December 21st, see how that unfolds, and then make a decision after that. But expect to see AJ in the ring next May or June.
Eddie, it wouldn't be the same without you. Appreciate your time very much. Thanks for taking some time out for us little, up-and-comers here.
Boys, good luck with the new show.
Thank you so
Eddie.
much.
Appreciate
Take care.
it.
Bye-bye.
I'm always willing to support all kinds of sizes of media platforms.
So cheeky.
Very kind of you. Very kind of you. You know when someone says like, all right, guys, take care, they want to get the hell off.
Yeah,
They've had enough.
He wanted to go 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, but it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. We got a couple nuggets there.
Dude.
I do want to ask you about the Zerdo fight because you were there.
Yeah.
By the way, CBS, do you see the aftermath?
Yeah, being there and you're seeing sort of the punishment he's taken the last few rounds. Well, the first 4 rounds were quite competitive. I thought, oh my God, CBS is too big, too strong. And then he got hit. I think it was a headbutt. It might have been a headbutt, I don't know. But then, like, Zurdo kept coming in close. You could see the grimacing on his face every time Zurdo got close and kind of hit that eye. And then the hands broken. Boxing, I know, obviously, look, you're an MMA guy as well, but I think boxing's the toughest sport on planet Earth.
I mean, combat sports in general. Kickboxing, boxing, MMA.
Boxing.
Brutal.
No, they're brutal, they are, yeah.
Broken hand, broken thumb on the other hand, the stitches. I mean, his face the next day looked absolutely gruesome. What heart. But Zurdo Jai, let's be honest, when we did the round table, I remember we did it, when did we do it? September, right? Before Joshua Dubois. I think we were all kind of leaning towards CBS versus Jai, right? That was the vibe I got.
That was the one that everyone was trying to say is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone clearly forgot about Gilberto Ramirez, who's clearly very, very good.
How do you think he does against Jai?
I think Jai just...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not even close?
Close.
Yeah.
Close, but I think Jai is just too good. I think he's too fast. Like, Zurdo makes everyone else look fast because he's come up from 168 pounds, 175, so he's a lot faster than these kind of big, almost small heavyweights. Jai is as fast, as ferocious, I think more powerful than Zurdo. So I lean to Jai, but... I mean, Zurdo proved me wrong on Saturday. I think Zurdo was a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Like he nearly stopped Crispin Smith a few times. Mm-hmm. That surprised me a little bit.
You just spoke about Virgil Ortiz. I know you spoke to him.
I did.
Over there. Your interest level in him fighting Boots?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Give it to me now. Like, whatever I got to pay, I will pay. I will pay for both of them to get there. That's the fight I want to see. They were supposed to fight at 147. They're always kind of circling each other. Like the guys just below at the time, they were just below Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. The next two guys were Virgil and Boots. All of a sudden, Virgil goes to 154, Terence goes to 154, Spence goes to 154, and Boots is left by himself. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do, Boots? And then, if we're honest, the last couple of fights, we've not really been interested. I mean, we're interested because it's Boots, but we've not been interested in the opponent. Virgil versus Boots, take my money. It brings in two different sets of eyeballs. You've got the Mexican-American, you've got the sort of Black Americans. I love it. I think it's a perfect sell.
Has Boots' stock gone down, in your opinion? Because last week when I spoke to Eddie about Boots, he said, you know what? And this was a great way of putting it. I actually like the fact that the last fight was a bit of a clunker, if only because now the top dogs are going to want to fight him because they think he's ripe for the taking.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of selling it.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, no one was writing home about that fight,
Yeah.
or maybe that performance.
It wasn't a great performance.
Right.
It
So
wasn't.
do you think his stock has gone down, or do you think he's just fighting down to the competition and he just wasn't all that motivated?
No. Stock's gone down. I mean, I kind of given him a few inbuilt excuses. I think the 147 IBF rehydration thing's a problem. No motivation. I think he's dad in the corner in terms of instruction. Go on, knock him out. I'm like, okay, he needs a bit more than that. So I do want to give him those as excuses, but he needs to be better. I mean, Boots, many people think is a future pound for pounder. You know, it was billed as two kings. Remember, that was Bam looked like a king. Bam looks incredible. Boots didn't. And I could, say the same thing about Bam. He's not motivated to fight that kind of opponent. Bam doesn't really want to do that guy, blah, blah, blah. He still got rid of him. Boots should have worked that guy out, I think, a lot earlier, considering he's fought him before. So, he didn't look great. But, with boxers, I mean, we're so harsh on them. Like, one bad performance, and then every other sports star can have one bad performance and it's forgotten. Boxers, one bad performance and you kind of... He needs a good opponent up opposite him. He needs someone that scares him. And I think Virgil frightens him a little bit. And I think Virgil's frightened by Boots a little bit as well. So it makes a great fight.
And so for a minute, it seemed like we were all pushing for Boots Crawford. Now, if you're matching up Boots and Virgil, who's Crawford fighting next?
No one.
No one. He's just chilling.
I don't think Crawford fights again.
Well, period.
Yeah.
You think he retires?
I do.
Really?
I really do.
This is a hot take.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, the only opponent that kind of got him excited.
What about Canelo?
That was the only one.
About it?
What's happening?
Maybe.
What's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, and let's be honest as well. I mean, I'm the biggest. You're not going to find the biggest Terence Crawford fan, but at 154 against Madrimov, we saw a bit of okay, this guy maybe is too big. Like Madrimov looked really strong, and I think Crawford struggled a bit with the size of Madrimov. I mean, Canelo is 168 pounds. He's a big guy, so I just wonder if that kind of fizzled out a little bit. And it doesn't seem to be any discussions right now between Canelo and Turkey and Crawford and Turkey and Canelo. It seems to have kind of vanished a little bit. I think it's the fight to make. I think Canelo has no one to fight 168 pounds in May. He does the September, May thing. Who's he fighting?
Yeah.
It's not going to be Christian Mbili. It's not going to be Chris Eubank Jr. Who's it going to be? So it's got to be Crawford, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And for Crawford, who you fight at 154 pounds? Who you going to fight? There's no one to fight. There's no one. Errol Spence, Sebastian Fundora.
Oh, definitely don't want.
He's not going to get excited about Virgil Ortiz. I love Virgil, but Crawford's not going to get excited about that. It needs to be a big name. Charlo twins. There's no one.
Well, speaking of Canelo, he's definitely not fighting David Benavidez next. Benavidez is fighting David Morrell, and we got our first look at a face-off between the two of them. That's going down beginning portion of 2025, and it got a little heated, and this wasn't even a press conference face-off. This was like a green screen ENG shoot. They were going toe-to-toe. There they are.
Is that Benavidez? Look at the size of him.
Yeah.
He is enormous. This is why Canelo didn't want to fight him. Look at the size of that man. He must be, no joke.
And obviously they're not in camp.
Of course
yet.
not, but he looks about 220. What is he, 6'1"? He looks about, maybe about 220 pounds. He's enormous. Morrell looks in better shape. By the way, this is an incredible fight, 175
I love
pounds.
this fight.
I
wonder how it does on pay-per-view.
Fight of the year so far, by far, easy.
What do you mean the fight of the year? Meaning
like
on
2025.
paper?
No, 2025, yeah. I don't know what can be made in my head right now that betters that. I'm not even joking. You're gonna have to.
You literally just said Virgil Ortiz is the fight. Yeah, I want to see this fight. Benabu tennis is unbelievable.
Not better than Morrell Benavidez.
Wow.
Morrell Benavidez, legitimately, the winner of that could cause a problem to Bivol Beterbiev at 175. That's how good those two are, I think, especially Benavidez.
Do you think there's a chance either of them fights Canelo ever?
No chance.
No chance. Huh?
Now they've gone to 175. Canelo's almost got that built-in excuse. I was going to do it. But you're now 175. And it shows how big they are, to be fair, that they can even go 175.
I know, but they could easily come down to 168.
Yeah, Canelo's not fighting them.
No.
It's a bit like the John Jones thing with Tom Aspinall, where Canelo probably thinks, why do I have to fight the hungry up-and-coming kids? Why do I have to do that? I've done that before. I'm not doing that again. Why am I going round the block again?
Right.
And Canelo's probably thinking, I ain't going round the block again.
By the way, speaking of that weight class, did Eddie insinuate that we might be getting...
Dude.
And I had not heard that before.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I heard that.
And then he kind of walked it back, so I wasn't sure.
And you know why I think it could be happening?
Why?
Because obviously, Beterbiev being Muslim, it has to happen before Ramadan.
Before Ramadan, yeah.
This is the only date. In terms of the Riyadh season dates, February, and then it's May, really. There isn't much in April or March. So this is the only one.
Well, we were talking before the show, saying like, who's going to headline February 22nd? Because Frank Warren keeps saying best fight card of the Riyadh season era. Eddie Hearn keeps saying that as well. Turkey has said it. And you said like Hamza Shiraz, and I was like...
What's wrong?
No, with all due respect.
What are you doing?
Best fight card? That's the best one? The one that we got...
Hamza's my guy. I'm not accepting this nonsense.
Yo, much respect. He was tremendous a couple of months ago, but that's the best one? Come on.
Can I give you the card in my head now? Now that Eddie said this?
Okay, well...
So now I'm saying Beterbiev Bivol headline.
2, yeah.
Now I'm saying this: Dubois versus.
It's got to be Joseph Parker. If it's not Joseph Parker, I riot.
You're saying
come on.
I'll be upset.
Who else?
Fabio Wardley.
No, stop.
No, they might do that. No.
Stop it.
Frank might do it. Frank just
has to
signed
be
him.
Joseph Parker.
I agree.
Oh my God, it would be such a shame.
Shakur Stevenson versus
Zepeda.
I don't think it will be Zepeda.
Really?
Yeah, Zepeda didn't look great against Tevin Farmer, and that was a 12.
A lot of people thought Farmer won.
10, right? Yeah. I thought Farmer could have.
So who does he fight?
I think he fights Joe Cordino, who he was supposed to fight.
Sure.
I think he fights.
What about Kakachi? Let him fight him. No?
Man.
Yeah. Too much?
No, Kakachi will take the fight. Good shout, by the way. I like that. Bit of boxing knowledge. Well done.
Oh,
well done. Well done.
Kakachi beat Cordina.
Yeah, look at you. And then Hamza Shiraz, Carlos Adames. That's 4 enormous ones.
That's the main card?
Yeah, the main card. And then you've got,
you
get other guys on it, like Padley, who caused an upset against Mark Chamberlain, deserves to be on it. Remember in the Wembley card. He deserves an opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
Someone. But the 4 there, the Bivol Beterbiev one has thrown me completely. But it makes sense.
I was not expecting that.
No.
That should be the one, because I thought IBF
Eddie
would try...
away. He's going to be upset with himself. He gave away. Of course he's going to be upset.
I just thought IBF was going to screw it up like they've screwed up everything else.
They might, but who cares? Do you care if it's an undisputed again?
No, it's not like... It's like, I don't care that Fury Usyk necessarily isn't, but it kind of annoys me.
Yeah.
Like the Fury Usyk rematch has to be for the undisputed. It has to be for the same stakes.
What about everyone that's waiting in line? What do they do then, Ariel? They just wait? They wait and wait. So you worked your way up.
But isn't that what we want?
We want you worked your way up. Well, no. I want people that are in line and have been waiting for a shot and have been pushed aside all the time to get their shot. It's unfair.
But it splinters the titles and it makes them feel lesser than when you build towards what was the sell for Fury Usyk? Fury Usyk is great, but also undisputed. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, you ruined that?
No. Okay, you've given them their undisputed shot. They've had it, as has Bivol Baturgeon.
And now we splinter.
What about the people below that have been waiting for ages, took step-aside money? Okay, I'll wait again. I'll continue to wait.
This is the thing. You're very old school, and boxing fans are old school, so they don't want to change. So when you talk to them about the IBF ruining the fun, they're like, well, no, that's how it should be. When you talk to them about the press conferences being boring as hell,
no, you can't.
say, no, that's how it should be.
The two
When
are
you
so
say
different.
that Jake Paul is good for boxing. No. Jake Paul is bad for boxing. You can't change. You have to evolve. Stop living in the 1930s.
So what should
all
happen
right?
with the belts?
It's not the Jake LaMotta days. All
What
right.
should happen with the belts? So how dare you put up these great posters and then disrespect these people?
I'm not disrespecting. I'm paying homage.
These people.
When men were men, and it wasn't about the splintered titles. All right. Now you guys are like, oh, I need a belt. I need an IBF alpha belt.
No, but if I am, there was a guy. It's funny you say this. Actually, there's a guy on the Latino card. His name's Arnold Barboza.
Of course, Junior.
There you
Bro,
go.
I was there in Brooklyn.
All right,
I was there.
Let me
Stop
tell the
talking to
story.
me.
You're
All right.
interrupting me.
Sorry.
So anyway, so Arnold Barboza was supposed to fight Jose Ramirez over 12 rounds, and it was supposed to be a WBO final eliminator. This guy's been fighting WBO final eliminators for so long. It's ridiculous. He's 32-0. So it's supposed to be a case of you win that fight, you get Teofimo Lopez, and the WBO have been promising him that fight for ages. You know what he did? He said, I ain't fighting for the WBO anymore. I'm tired. So it went from a 12-round to a 10-rounder. And I was like, dude, why have you just done that? He said, you know what? I've been paying my sanctioning fees to the WBO for so long, I still haven't fought for a world title. Because, again, you get the world champions, like Teofimo Lopez in this stage, that are like, I kind of do what I want to do. No, sorry, I fight who I want to fight. And well, if you're an Arnold Barboza and you fight that contender, and you're like, oh, it's a world title shot next, it's coming. No, it's not coming. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's out of order for some fighters. Yes, you're right. We want to see the big undisputed. But there are guys and girls that are making their way up, doing exactly what they're supposed to do, fighting that person because they've been told to and paying the sanctioning fees 3 or 5%. And they don't get an opportunity because people like Ariel Helwani only want to see the best versus the best and undisputed
I just
fights.
like when things are undisputed.
Only wants the superstar names. What about the people up and coming?
I love the up and comers.
You don't even
I got much
you
love
don't
for
care
them.
about me.
Yeah, what do you know about Shushu Carrington? I mean, what a show he put on.
He did, right? He did.
Fine to see again.
He was
another
like
guy.
one of the first fights on the card.
He was literally the first.
Was he the first
yes,
one?
He was the current. There were only 7 fights, but it was great to see him get that
like the first fight when. How many people were in the stadium, would you say?
I have to say, that's another thing. When you go to those cards, they come early.
Really? So about 20,000, 30,000 in there?
Oh, it was impressive.
Oh, well done. Okay.
Yeah. By the time the main card started, and that was actually, if I'm being honest, the one fight that I didn't love. Like, I thought it was a mistake to start with Niraj Goyat versus Whindersson Nunes. And I know why they did it. Brazil has a huge Netflix audience, and India as well. But you want to come, like, I wish they started with Barrios.
Yeah.
And then you kind of sandwich it with a fun fight.
Barrios, see, you know what happened? People would say, 1 second, Barrios is the WBC welterweight champion. How dare he open the card? It'd be like Barrios, and that's what happens. I really want to be at the next sort of big one. Can you?
I'll put in a word.
I'll put in a word. I don't know if Nikis is happy with me.
It's been a wacky show in the sense that we've talked about a lot of wacky things. And so let's end on a fitting note, and let's talk about Ryan Garcia. Because Ryan Garcia is coming back on New Year's Eve on a Ryzen card exhibition bout, and he's also talking about fighting Jake to defend the honor of one Mike Tyson. All right, I've been quiet for some time, but I've been cooking on some plans before my actual return to the ring. Here's the plan before April, he writes on X. Exhibition in December in Japan against the guy who fought an aging Manny Pacquiao and tried to knock him out, and then go after Jake Paul for Uncle Mike. You like this plan?
Yeah. What's that? Can we put that back on? The emoji.
The
after
emoji.
Jake.
That's actually one of my favorite emojis. It's the
mean?
salute one. Respect.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got bad eyes. Okay, Jake for Uncle Mike. I like Ryan a lot, I miss Ryan.
Oh, it was great.
I miss him.
That fight week was
Devin
something.
Haney fight week?
Yeah, it was
great.
incredible.
But I still don't know if he was throwing us a curveball. I still don't know if he was crazy or if he was just playing us all this time. I have no idea if he was like
It's going to be like
short of a
it's going to be like one of the great,
he threw me.
mysteries in boxing.
You know what I loved so much about that? Sorry. Like after he beat Devon and he went on the train, he done like a little post.
Oh, yeah, so good.
So good.
When he's looking at the map and he's
like
just
he was Batman. Like, who do I go and destroy next?
And you know that he definitely did not go to sleep. Like he had the look of a guy who did it, but just put some water or gel in his hair.
Yeah, and it's almost like they got rid of everyone on the train.
Yeah,
Obviously, security is like everyone. He's so important for boxing. And I guess this leads on to a further question about sort of the faces of the sport that we need to be seeing more. I'm not quite sure about this exhibition. Bear in mind, he's on a ban. Like, I don't like the idea of him making money from the sport of boxing when you're on a ban. I just find that quite strange. The ban's a ban. He's accepted a 12-month ban. You shouldn't be able to make money from boxing.
It happens a lot. MMA fighters have done this, gone to Japan. As long as it's not sanctioned, they get away with it.
Is it wrong?
But here's the thing: Japan and Ryzen don't care. You know why? Because they don't need the commissions. So it's never like this was the problem with Conor Benn, right?
Yeah.
Eddie needs the British Boxing Board of Control. So they'll tell him, no, you do this, you're in trouble. We'll fine you. We'll make life hell for you. Ryzen doesn't need it, so it's the Wild West. It's just like when guys go over to the UAE as well.
Yeah,
I'm the Wild West.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. Again, like, I want him back in the sport. I think he's incredible for the sport. He really is. I mean, he pushes the needle, right? I mean, pop culture, etc. He ticks everything. And he can fight. Forget all that stuff, by the way. He can actually really fight very, very well. But, I mean, you get a slap on the wrist and a 12-month ban. It's almost just a middle finger to the commissions that banned you when you say, hey, whatever, ban, I can go and make millions in Japan, come back and what? And I just don't like it. I want him to sit it out. Yep. I want him to sit it out, get his 12-month ban over and done with in April, and then come back and go straight into a big one in April. That's what I want from him.
Who's his first fight against?
Devin Haney, 1 gazillion%.
Do you think it will happen?
It has to happen.
I know it has to happen, but we say this a lot, and it doesn't happen.
Yes, I think it will happen.
It will be gigantic.
Dude, enormous.
Enormous.
Yeah.
Should Haney fight before then?
If I was Haney, I would have. I think it's
too late now.
It's almost becoming too late now. You can risk it.
Yeah,
you can risk it, but you get hit, and he got hurt in that fight. Yeah. Is he recovered? Can he take punches?
He's free in April.
Yeah,
I don't think it happens necessarily in April, but let's say it happens May, June, July.
It's got to happen in April.
You think it does?
Yeah, I think they've got to somehow get it done.
Be gigantic.
Yeah,
the build will be unbelievable. I don't even know where it happens. Probably Vegas.
I think you should go to the same Barclays. Why not?
You think so?
Why not? The atmosphere in there and the Barclays was
great, but I think it could be better. It's a West Coast fight. Haney's a West Coast guy. Garcia's a West Coast guy. Either there or, you know what? That Intuit Dome, that brand new LA Clippers arena.
What's it called?
UFC, the Intuit Dome.
I hate these names.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Is it really good, yeah?
Oh, my God.
Could you not do a stadium? Is it not big enough for a stadium? Yeah.
In America?
The problem is the America don't have... Well, they've got some stadiums that are small, no?
Yeah, but I don't think it's stadium.
You don't think it's that big? Well, one second. You just said it was the biggest thing ever, and all of a sudden you're not saying
I
it's
didn't say biggest thing ever, but, I mean, there are no stadium fights. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, stadium fight. That's it. No, but seriously. But I'm just saying, it's not like you guys...
How many times are you going to mention Jake Paul on this show?
You guys, I mean, he's the topic of the week. You guys, don't, by the way, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You're pandering. You're pandering to the internet. You're making me the bad guy. I'm the one who tells it like it is. Comments be damned. Backlash be damned. I tell it like it is. You guys will do a so-so ho-hum fight at Selhurst Park, and there's 5 people there. We don't do that. All right, here in America, we take...
That's a direct shot at Ben Shalom and boxer.
I mean, come on. There were 6 people there, and they told me it was a home game for him. Was it not? The star was Ben Whitaker. He comes out to the orchestra. There's 4 people in the audience.
Yeah, 13,000.
Yeah.
13,000 is a good number. It's about that, 13,000.
I mean, there were a bunch of people dressed up as empty seats. It was unbelievable.
It was a...
So we don't do that here. We'd rather, I say we.
No, I don't even mean, I'd rather pack out an arena. I think the want for stadium fights is a bit crazy. I just think it's so big, it could have done a stadium.
When it's worthy, it's worthy. Like when we were there at Wembley, I was blown away.
And by the way, Devin Haney is still the WBC champion, I believe. It's some weird way.
He gets it back, right?
So Ryan walked straight into a world title fight. Boxing's a crazy sport, you know. You know how crazy the boxing game is. But where's Javante Davis, by the way?
Oh, no, we're not starting this.
We're not doing that.
We're already way past our time.
What time?
This has been fun.
We're done?
Yeah, we're done.
We're
done. We're actually done. Yeah.
I've come all this way. Well, I've come all this way for an hour and 20 minutes.
We're supposed to actually be an hour. We've gone 25 minutes over.
Okay, is this my camera?
How much fun you're having.
This is my camera?
Yeah, this is it right here. Go ahead, tell.
If it was supposed to be an hour and we've gone 30 minutes over, I know what my rate is for an hour, then I expect an increase. If we're going longer.
Talk to your agent.
Oh, certainly.
It was nice of you to carve out some time out of the 95 jobs that you have to bless us with your presence here.
But this is by far.
This is it.
This is by far.
How many shows have your name on it?
The best job. Well, we say this, but let's not forget. I reached out to you. I slid in your DMs, Ariel.
You did. What a time. Look at us now.
You know. Can we show the message?
Wow.
Here we go. Look at the message, everyone. This is it right here.
This is
please respond to this. I'm not sure how else to get in touch. I'm a reporter currently in London. I worked for Sky Sports at the time. I also have a YouTube channel called Boxing Talk with Ade. I'll give my right finger to have you on via Zoom for a brief chat about MMA, boxing, and of course wrestling. Now, the question is, did Ariel respond to this?
No, absolutely not.
No, he didn't.
This is, by the way, a little over 4 years ago.
There you go. A lot's happened.
And I didn't know you were a wrestling guy.
Whoa!
Or were you just trying to hook me?
Faking it, just
you were
to get
just
in.
trying to hook me.
I saw
and
the
look
set
at us
at the
now.
time. Yeah, yeah.
Ariel, Ade, we're here in the flesh.
Hey.
We're pretty much like best buds.
Yeah, kind of.
One thing about Ade, if you are one of his closest friends and you do WhatsApp him, text him, you will never get an actual text back. Yeah. You will just get voice notes back.
Best way.
It's just like constant 4-minute podcast with you.
Well, I feel like it's more personal. You can hear my voice.
Yeah,
you
sometimes
hear my
you know
voice,
what?
you can hear the emotion, you can hear if I'm sad.
But even when I
hear it.
continue to respond in text, you continue to give me voice notes.
I feel like we've got a thing there. You expect? Why don't you send a voice note back out of it?
I'm a little bit timid. I don't need my voice being broadcast to the world all the time.
I think the voice notes are incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think they're good.
And sometimes it's like, hey, Ariel, I'm busy right now. I've got a haircut. I've got an appointment. I've got an interview. Yeah, let me now respond to what you wrote 1 minute in. Like, I don't have all day for this.
So you don't like them?
Well, it's
I've realized as well, by
presuming
the way.
that we all aren't as busy as you.
You don't really listen to them.
No, I do.
No, I do, because I know this.
No, I go in real time. I go in real time.
Oh, is that what you're so responding to the first 20 seconds?
Yes, I'm actually responding in real time. I'm giving you live blog thoughts.
Okay, because I'm like, how's he responded to that? He's only listening.
Wow,
to 30
it's all
seconds.
coming out now.
Well,
any other issues?
No,
any other transgressions?
No, we're good.
Okay, we're good.
Are you doing Fury Usyk December?
Let's wrap this up.
Good.
Perhaps we will. For now, though, episode 1 officially in the books every Tuesday, right here on all the DAZN channels. Ade, Ariel, Ade. He's gonna come in each and every week. Yeah, look at us. Come on, dog. Look at us. Take your feet off my table, please. We'll be right back next Tuesday, same time and place. For now, though, thank you so much for watching our very first episode, my friends. Good night and enjoy the fights.